Good morning, students. So now I am going to tell you about the neural networks, that what is neural networks and how they works actually. So neural network basically inspired by the human neural system, and by means of this we can make our we can solve our real time problems also. And that is basically the neural network is basically consist of some neurons, and neurons basically work as a human being neuron, and it is inspired from there. And neural network computers consist of a large number of the simple processing elements. So simple processing elements are there that individually solve a small piece of a much larger problem. Okay, so large problem is divided into small chunks, and these small chunks are solved by means of these neural networks and neural nodes, and these nodes are basically as a simple processing element. Okay, these are basically a simple processing element. So simple processing element means it will do its own task. Okay, it will do its own task. It will stores. It is a simple a small computing unit which is able for the processing, which is able for storing the data, and which has its own small memory, and it is able to take the decision. Such kind of thing is possible in a simple processing in the element. So I will show you. That is our neuron, and so these inputs are there, and these are the weights to the inputs, and then this T or neuron take the decision, and it will provide us output. So it is our processing element. Okay, so they are particularly useful in dynamic situations that are an accumulating of previous behavior, and where an exact algorithm solution cannot be formulated. We cannot formulate a problem solution if there is a task of you can say traffic light, because of the dynamic nature of the traffic. It is very hard to understand that at what time or what type of the traffic will come, and how can we handle this thing. Okay, so neural problems can handle it. Okay, so some DIP, digital image processing technology is also using the neural problems. Some acoustic understanding problems are also going to. Multimedia handling is also going to be handled by means of the neural problem. Okay, multimedia signals are going to be handled by means of neural problem, neural computing system. So these neural computing systems are very much important for us, and it is defined by the engineers that how to tackle a problem and how intelligently they can you can say train the environment. So like their biological analogues, the neural networks can deal with the imprecise and probabilistic information and allow the predictive interaction. So next is the neural network processing elements multiplies a set of inputs values by an adaptable set of weights. So our weights are very adaptable, and that provides us some dynamicity in the system. The computation carried out by the processing element is a simplistic, almost trivial when compared to the traditional microprocessors. Their power lies in their massively parallel architectures and their ability to adapt to the dynamics of the problem spaces. So neural network learn from their environments, and a built-in learning algorithm directs this process. So there is x1, x2, x3 and xn up to xn. These are the inputs, and there are some weights. These are the weights assigned to each input, and this is my neuron, and this after judging these weights, that takes the decision as z. So the simplest neural net P is in the perception. Okay, perceptrons are trainable neurons. This is my perceptron, and these are trainable neurons. A perceptron produces a Boolean output based upon the values that it receives from the several inputs. Perceptrons are trainable because the threshold and input weights are modifiable. If in this example of so you can see that this is our weight this is our weight. If it is greater than the threshold value t, then the output is 1, otherwise it will be 0. Perceptrons are trained by use of the supervised and or unsupervised learning. Supervised learning assumes a prior knowledge of the correct results which are fed to the. So this is important. This is important exam for a exam point of view. Supervised and unsupervised learning. Supervised learning assumes a prior knowledge of the correct results which are fed to the neural net during the training phases, and if the output is incorrect, the network modifies the input weights to produce the correct results. In unsupervised learning does not provide correct results during training. Okay, the network adapts solely in response to the inputs, learning to recognize the patterns and structure in the input sets. So these two types of the neural networks are there. So the biggest problem with the neural sets is that when they consist of more than 10 or 20 neurons, it is impossible to understand how the net is arriving at its results. So that is a problem. When there are 5 or 6 neurons, then it is okay. But when there are 10 or 20, then it is not possible that how it is taking decision. So it is very hard. Okay, so that is a problem basically. They can derive meaning from data. So that is a point of harm. That may be the point of harm also, if the computing system is start to learn by itself, and it is not providing the output. We are unable to understand that how it is learning, and we are unable to understand that how it is going to understand the things. So then it becomes a very problematic case. Then that how will we tackle such kind of system? They can derive meaning from the data that are too complex to be analyzed by the pupil. The US military once used a neuron net to try to locate camouflaged tanks in a series of the photographs. It turned out that the nets were basing their decisions on the cloud cover instead of the presence of the absence of the tanks. So they were taking the data from the clouds, not from the presence or absence of the tanks. So that was also a problem. Despite early setbacks, neural nets are gaining credibility in cell forecasting. That is a very high in demand right now, and for that purpose many data scientists are getting recruited in many high software based companies, and data validations, facial recognition, and so on. So where neural nets are a model of the biological neuron systolic array, computers are a model of the how blood flows through a biological heart. And systolic arrays, a validation of the SIMD computers, have simple processors that process data by circulating it through a vector pipeline. So that is a vector pipeline, and that is how they are working basically. These are the processing element. They are directly associated with the memory. Whatever they learn, they store in the memory. So enough is this, and all the lecture has been completed. Unit 5 has been completed, and any of your doubt I am able here, and now you can see that each and every topic in this unit I have already covered. So if you have any problem, if you have any doubt, you can ask me on my mobile phone, on my WhatsApp number. You can mail me also, and so if you have any kind of problem, you can ask. So thank you for this lecture. Next session I will try to cover in the online sessions. Thank you.